option is. Sorry says 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener. Slide that up. Is it this one? That's working. Why isn't yours working? Keep talking.
Hey, can you guys hear us?
You can hear me.
Negative 5 says we hear you. Do we sound like we're super far away?
They're gonna say that you're far away. Because your mic.
Are good now. Can you guys hear me good?
Mic 2. Da 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 da.
Yeah, it's very low.
Almost there. Alright, I got that figured out. Alright, guys. We are live. We got a really good set list for you guys. Trust me, you're gonna enjoy it very much. I don't know the name of this first song, but it is. Let me see. I'm gonna try to figure out how to. Okay, here's what Middle Earth is saying about this song. If my back or chest proclaiming Venetic black metal front. Ran across this album on Bandcamp, iHeart Bandcamp, and Venetic black metal. Since the lyrics are in Italian, I thought no problem, but the translation was even worse than with the obscure Tumatu language discussed below for song 3, and that is saying a lot about this obscure Italian dialect. I spent over an hour trying to translate it. Total fail.
Oh my gosh.
Then I noticed a comment on Bandcamp. Conveyed through local dialect. Makes sense. So, just a few days ago, I contacted Anguana and Stefano, got back to me immediately, and emailed the lyrics to this song. Also, they sent me a free CD, a bunch of free digital copies of this album to hand out.
Wow.
We have corresponded, and he sent me his personal playlist, which was cool. Stefano's a great guy in my book. He stated that Anguana is written and sung in Veneto language, specifically the dialectical type of my area. Stefano is a leader of the Venetic black metal front and is a member of some other Venetic bands, helps the Venetic black metal front community with social media, concert organization, promotion, and music distribution. Seems like a cool scene. Okay, so it's apparently Venetic black metal.
Oh shoot, my headphones.
And these folks are from Italy. But Soraya doesn't have her headphones, so we'll hang out a little bit more, and then we'll get right into this Venetic black metal band. Tony in the house, gang, gang, gang. Okay, now I can look at the comment section. Perk in the house, Negative Vibes in the house, Rich Yonkers in the house, Riv in the house, Tony in the house, BC in the house, XBM in the house, XBM to God. What's going on?
Well, I'm not getting a response from Dorian. So.
Okay, I'm just gonna call
go
him.
get him?
Hold on, guys. I got to make a phone call.
Whoops. We were muted. Did you guys... wait, so I don't think they heard what I just said. I deleted the whole thing because it looked like you guys had a whole, like, new list. Some of the songs looked like they were different, so I deleted the old list to add in the new ones so there would be no mix-up. So I don't know what the old 1, 2, or 3 or whatever was. So I have songs 1 through 4 listed out because that was in the email. I just need to know what 5, 6, and 7 are and in what order. Like the names of the songs that they are.
All right, here we go. Song number 1. Song numero uno. Starts at the 8:23 mark. Here we go. Piggy. 1429.
That's clearly the end of the song.
That's clearly the end of the song. Well, I wanted to make sure.
Okay, all right. It's true. Sometimes you never know if something's gonna like pop off at the end.
All right, this is a Love for the Dark Arts stream. I am assuming dark arts here means black metal. Black metal.
Must be.
So this band, the first half of the song, I had them pegged as like, okay, these guys are old school, black metal, like Gen 1 black metal type stuff.
Uh-huh.
Because I thought the production, particularly on the drumming, was like lo-fi, like purposely lo-fi, which, is a staple of...
the way that they did it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just how lo-fi it was.
Yeah.
But then they kind of drifted off the beaten path for like Gen 1 black metal. They had some rhythm in there. They had the which you generally don't hear in black metal. So they were kind of like a modern kind of black metal band with the lo-fi signature, it almost sounded like.
Okay. Okay, so this was This was written in their native language and then translated.
It's a specific dialect of Italian. So basically, only the 4,000 people in the town that this dude came up with would be able to translate this. But this is coming directly. This is coming directly from the band itself,
which is pretty cool. And it was really actually pretty cool that the band reached out to you so quickly, and then
or responded to your reach out. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty badass, actually. So there wasn't a lot of lyrics. I walk into the wood under the moon's look. Which,
I feel the stars' weight. That's an interesting line.
Feeling the weight of the stars?
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say that.
I've never heard anybody say that. That's true.
And I'm not really even... Because the stars... Okay, so the stars have always done like a couple things. One, to me, is they give you this like a feeling of smallness because they're so far away.
Really?
Well, for me, yeah, I always felt like I felt, to me, when I would go underneath the stars, it was always like, okay, there's something way bigger than me, like, because you're looking at the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, I
and
see that.
And it made me feel like safe in a way. Although I will say, this alien stuff you keep showing me probably wouldn't make me feel like that same way looking at the stars after seeing all that different stuff you keep showing me.
What do you mean?
Well, I guess because all of my life up until I came to this idea that, wait a minute, there actually could be other life forms. And then obviously with our government talking about more different, things on the topic, it kind of makes you start saying, well, wait a minute, what's going on here?
It's about to be a big reveal.
Yeah, but before all of that, I thought, it was us, that was it, and...
You really thought that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like in the circles that I rolled in, like, if you believed in aliens, you were just like crazy. Like that's only for crazy people. That's why I was very surprised you did. I was like, wait, what? Because we were walking in. Weren't we in Walmart when I brought it up? And
no,
I was like,
yo,
so and so believes
in aliens. It was a Bible study. It was a Bible study, yeah. And you were like mocking people that believed. I was like, well, I mean, pretty big fucking planet out there. And on top of that, we believe some pretty hokey stuff. I mean,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like,
so I don't know when he said the way to the stars.
Yeah, I always, like the stars really, they were objects of worship, or there were. I think the weight of the stars is more of a metaphysical sort of because technically the sun is a star. I just think it's the weight of the cosmos itself. Like, I think it's one of the things that I feel like pagans have over us is it seems to me that paganism, which I'm assuming that this was descriptor of some sort of a pagan rite or ritual, because it literally says, pose into a corner, the rite doesn't stop. Although it could be that he's presenting nature as the ceremony itself. But it just looks to me like pagans have a real deep awareness of the divine in the divinity in nature, which obviously as a Christian, you have to cut some very fine theological lines to remain within orthodoxy. And I think Kai is he's either animistic or pantheistic or something like that. But anyway, I obviously I don't believe that there are valley gods and gods of the sky that we should worship and yada yada yada. But as far
that we should worship or that they don't exist is what you're saying. What exactly are you saying?
Yeah, that we should worship.
Yeah.
God, yeah, in that sense of worshipable gods. But as far as like the idea, maybe that what we call consciousness or awareness or whatever that we only apply to human beings, like could that be all of nature? Could all of nature? And somebody asked Don Hoffman this question because he's got conscious agents theory. Hoffman doesn't believe in like a physical world, a physical time and space type world. He believes that this is basically like a we're all participating basically in a not necessarily, basically simulation is as close as you can come, but it's basically conscious agents coming together to generate what we're calling the physical world so that we can have experiences, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then somebody asked Hoffman, well, then did a group of conscious agents choose to be a rock in this simulation? And he basically said, yeah, probably. Which the guy basically said, okay, does that mean that rocks are then conscious to a degree? And he basically said, well, yeah, basically. Because again,
really?
He doesn't really believe that what we're calling the physical world is actually ultimately real outside of our perception. So it was
rock?
very, very, very interesting.
See, I feel like I could throw in more with like a plant. But like a rock? It's not even living, like it's...
Yeah. So he doesn't... He didn't say yes, but he said I'm not going to rule it out because, again, what is the function of a rock if conscious agents came together and projected this universe? What's the function of a rock? It's not just there. It's in his theory, there's a group of conscious agents that make up that rock. So, very, very interesting questions. And according to Sadie, rocks have their own frequency. So, I mean, who knows?
Mean, frequency?
I don't know what she means by frequency. I'm assuming frequency means that it counts as some sort of living entity or something to that degree. As a Christian, I believe there is consciousness in nature, stars, trees, etc. Right. So,
Really?
So if you had that world view, then you would really feel the weight of the stars.
Okay,
because,
if that was true,
yeah,
when we were out today and you like took that rock and you threw it down, like then
Yeah.
you would wonder, like, was that rock sad that you threw it away from where it was? Maybe it liked the sunny spot on the hill.
Well, I think in Hoffman's perspective that those things probably have a different agenda. Like he got very fuzzy when the guy was asking him that question for obvious reasons. The guy's a scientist.
Sounds weird, or
he's a scientist, and it sounds like pantheism, which. We're modern, we're postmodern.
Yeah.
And, if this souped up scientist says he believes something that the ancient pagans believed since before we were verbal, then this is what I'm talking about, like with modern Western people, is that to have to admit, well, shit, they had it right the entire time, right? And here we come with all of our infinite wisdom and knowledge, and all we did was find a complicated way of explaining why those pagans were right. Mm-hmm. You don't want to go there. Mm-hmm. The same thing with ayahuasca. It's the same thing with, honestly, some of these, unidentified aerial phenomena. What we've seen where you could clearly see, like, okay, if an ancient person saw this, they'd say they just saw an angel.
Yeah.
Like the shape-shifting UFO one that we saw.
Yeah.
If an ancient person described what they saw, they'd say, "Oh, that's a." But anyway, so it's just a very, very interesting topic. The weight of the stars is that's a phrase with a lot of implications, I think.
But I'm not even sure, like, necessarily if that's translated in a way that we can understand, because the very next line is the smell of pine is becoming arrogant, which sounds a little... I mean, you could run with that and come with an explanation, but it almost seems like that they're saying it's becoming poignant. Like, you're smelling it's getting really strong, is what seems like more. I feel the stars wait, the smell of pine is becoming, like, strong, I would think. Smokes of resin, tree resin, the witch starts. Shake his head to the sides and wiggle itself. A spiral drags me. The small road go deep into a spiral drags me. I don't know what this spiral is, but again, we were in the woods today. I wish I would have taken a picture of that. Like, those weren't just circles that they made out of the rocks. Like, if you looked in the middle, it made a spiral in the middle. So I wondered, like, if there was anything to that. Like, was somebody just spending their day creating a pretty thing in the...
Or is it a nod to Tool and Lateralis, which has the whole fractal thing where you have mathematical equations and fractals that repeat over and over again all throughout the universe, but there's no mind superintending any of this. Nope, just a lot of order and a lot of codes that are hardwired seemingly into the universe. But never you look at the man behind the stuff. It all just happened randomly. Yeah, I think he might be, because I think I definitely see, like, I believe that I think atheism, the computer atheism stuff, I think that's going away. Because I don't think it's going to be able to uphold the weight of the coming discoveries that we have. But I do see a form of sort of like neo-pagan, secular, humanistic type religion that's going to evolve out of the next 3 to 5 years. And I'm here for it. It's very fascinating to me because I think a lot of the folks that were, call themselves pagan. I mean, like, say these, how do I say this? It's not that she's the only one I take seriously. What I will say, though, is I feel like Sadie's been a pagan for a long time.
Yeah, she talks about being a pagan, I think, back in school, too.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like how here, you come here, and then, like, the next week, 5 people are Wiccan, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're Wiccan. Yeah. And you could say, they were Wiccan before, but they weren't. A lot of them came from the church. So it's kind of like the church, like, funneled out into... You had a bunch of people went like this
33 years, she said.
This new atheist stuff. And I think people are going to see the obvious holes in the new atheist stuff, but they still don't want Christianity. So I think... So on the one hand, you have that, but on the other hand, you have scientific breakthroughs and things like that, especially in the world of physics, where space-time, it's almost like the Minority Report now. Like, physicalism is almost a Minority Report among these physicists. Yeah. And so I just think there's going to be kind of almost like this convergence of thought processes. Because I think if people put everything on the table and say, okay, what's the difference between saying I opened up a portal into another world versus I took DMT and ayahuasca? There's no real functional difference. What's the difference between saying that this thing is an angel versus saying this thing is a, Zeta Reticulin, whatever. I think people are going to go there and they're going to go, this is ridiculous. They're all going to collapse into the same thing. And there's going to obviously be some morality. So there's where the humanism comes in. But you don't want to, like, live under God's law. So that's where the secularism is going to come in. But you also have to account for the supernatural, which is where I think the paganism is going to come in. So that's my prediction in the next 3 to 5 years. The next big thing is going to be some pagan secular humanism. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what this song has meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, just the song seems like it's about a ritual that goes on because poison in a corner, the right doesn't stop, shadows, the owl calls. Oh, and also the dances insist for only one night. So it seems like it's some, like, this is, this happens for one night, this goes on for one night.
Footsteps on the rock, screams don't let down, exhausted, breathless, the impetuosity. The dances insist for one only night. Pose into a corner, the right doesn't stop, shadows the... And then in the song, you hear people screaming and yelling. So I don't know if they were looking at this as like some sort of ritual where somebody gets sacrificed. You know what I'm saying? That might be it too. What were you saying?
I I mean, this is the name of the song. But I don't know.
Anguana. Fumi de Caraxa.
Oh yeah.
All right, what'd you give it?
So okay, whenever we're doing anything that has like some sort of like pagan whatever in it, like I expect a certain level of, from my position, beauty in it. And you're saying, that you were hearing some. Did you say tremolo? What did you say?
Tremolo pick.
You listed off some different things over there, but I just didn't. I don't know. I couldn't vibe with any of the song. I don't know. It just felt like.
Well, you don't like lo-fi stuff.
No. I just couldn't. There wasn't any part of it that I was like, oh, I really like that. Even I couldn't really vibe much with the lyrics.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How
So
dare you?
I feel a little bit sad about this, but this song is like a 4.5 for me.
What?
Yeah.
The song is a solid 8 for me. How dare you?
Yeah,
How dare
4.5.
you? I hope what's his face kicks you out of the village. Kick her out!
I am the village.
Kick her out! There you are, dear listener. Well, there you go. Song is an 8. It's a 4 for her. It's a 6 average. Horrible. Now you know my wife has no taste. We shall return, dear listener. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Unbelievable.
I mean, it's my opinion.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of Alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that off.
can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee, a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. Shall lead
To
them.
buy our merch. Love for the Dark Arts stream is going on now. What do you say? Vanum? Frozen?
Vanum.
Frozen in the Vile Illumination. This song is... Oops. Hold on a second. Okay. This is song 2. This is Middle Earth's pick. American black metal. The United States is putting out black and death metal that takes a backseat to no other countries, in my opinion, quality-wise. Oh, okay. The potential is there. Just need more great bands. Love this band, and their latest album is in my top 5 for AOTY. Those purists who look down on us, black and death metal, U.S. black and death metal, may have a point, but I say never underestimate the U.S. creativity impulse.
Yes, dear listener.
Here we go. And do you have the lyrics?
Huh?
I have the lyrics if you need them.
I think Jesus will be more accepted. Yeah, XBM, I agree, actually. If it hasn't happened already with some folks. Okay, let's do this now. All right, here we go. Vanum and...
Frozen in the Vile Illumination.
Frozen in the Vile Illumination. Let me see. It's a clickable link. That means you're starting around 15 I'll say 1528.
3. Yeah.
1528. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we are. Here we are. All right, 1528. Right over there.
In gold.
Do you hear anything?
Nope. Wow.
Pretty sure
That
that
was-
was it. Okay, so that was...
I very much enjoyed that one.
You
Didn't
did?
that one? Yeah.
I
Sonically
figured-
and lyrically
I
as
knew
well.
you would. Frozen in Vile Illumination is the name of the song.
Why did you think I would?
Because this is more, I don't want to say, heady is not the word, but it's more layered and it's more complex. The first black metal song we listened to was more like old school black metal, especially in my opinion, in regards to the, especially with the production value. The production value here was obviously professional grade. Obviously, they did a great job as far as that goes. And there were a lot more dynamics to the song, so I figured that you'd like it more. Why did you like it more?
Well, I mean, just overall, like the kind of vibe of the song, the feel of the song, I still felt like I kind of got sucked into it, which I love that. And lyrically, it was interesting because, I mean, there's probably a bunch of different ways that you could take it, but it to me sounded like the fall of an angel, even though it wasn't, because it says man in there, but it just, I don't know, like just the way that it was described to me, it just kind of, there's this picture that I have, nobody seems to like it, and it's of like this very, like a man looking angel, and his back is bent backwards, and he's exploding, like from, it looks like that there's like something must have hit him like in the chest, and it's like this explosion coming out. But it's such a crazy, I love the picture. Everybody I show is like, ugh. But it kind of like reminded me of that. I wish I knew where I put that picture. But yeah, on the crest of a raven's wing, frozen in lightning strike, man undone plummets from the heights of the cliffs of slate. In the mania of harrowed flight, the frenzy of escape, the intoxication of vain denial, the terror of iron fate. Yeah, I don't really know what it really is.
I mean, it sounds
about,
to me
but
like a guy who tried to commit suicide, jumps off a cliff, and then he's got that one moment of clarity where he says, "What the fuck did I do?" And that's why it says frozen in vile illumination.
the intoxication of vain denial, terror of iron fate.
Yeah, you just jumped off a cliff. Look, the heights of the cliff slate. Man undone plummets from the heights of the cliff slate. In the mania of harrowed flight, because he's in midair, the frenzy of escape, meaning, shit, what did I do? The intoxication of vain denial. I'll live through this. The terror of iron fate. No, you will not. On Raven's wing tumbling, he's on a wing in the sense that he's flying, because he's
Or maybe he thought he was going to be able to fly.
frozen in vile illumination. Like it's that moment in time when he realizes there's no turning back. That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean,
It's weird to me how we look at the same lyrics and like you're off, and then I say like
you're off.
then I say, well, no, I'm saying like to me you're off in like Pluto somewhere, and then I read the lyrics that seem, and you're like, oh my god. Like, did you not see where it says, man undone plummets from the heights of the cliff?
Honey, you need to understand that this is something that I do, especially with art, but you've seen it probably in our arguments as well, that when I'm reading something, if something doesn't fit, I toss it to the side.
Fit with what?
Well, this to me, like, when it was talking about like a raven's wing, I'm thinking of black wings, which obviously makes me think more of like a demonic character. And then frozen in lightning strike, like how people always say, like, I'm not going to church, I could get struck by lightning. This idea that that's how God, like, would punish somebody or go after somebody.
Yeah.
And then I threw out, man, undone plummets from the heights of the cliff's slate in the mania of herald flight. I was just picturing like this, like the angel was flying and then it was like, they're being cast down to hell. So it gets struck like a lightning strike,
Yeah,
and
where
then
did
it's
you
falling.
even see angel? Where did that come
No,
from?
I said that's what I got from it because it says on the crest of Raven's wing. So I think the black angel wings, and so
Of course, it's got to be a black angel. Of course.
I said black angel wings.
No, it's just funny to me
and then grasp
What's funny
the
to me?
fabric of history.
What's funny to me is like you seem shocked when all I did was read the words.
Yeah, I know, but because I have my own interpretation, I don't look at it like you do. And then all of a sudden, like you say it, and I'm like, oh, that's obvious. Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. But I would have never said, if somebody said your life is on the line, I would have never said this is about suicide. I would have dumped off the angel thing because it said, man, there's too many things that don't fit. But I would have said it was more of like you remember that the character with him and his son, and they made the angel wings, like.
Yeah. Grasp at the fabric of history, cling to the wheel of time, kneel before the inevitable, fall from the cliffs of slate. Frozen in the lightning strike, torn between delight and lamentation beneath the burden of will. Like that to me seems like.
Yeah, no, I see,
It seems to me, but you know.
I think that's an important. I feel like that's a really important song, like if that's the way that it's being interpreted, because 100%. I feel like that must happen with people.
Yeah, 100%. There is actually a book in it was like one of the few books that I picked up and did not keep reading, but it was basically a book of all these people who had survived their suicide attempt, and you know, most of them were able to kind of, you know, took a bunch of pills or whatever, and they were able to kind of make it out relatively unscathed. But a couple people had permanent issues, and the second guy I read was a guy that he was one of these people that jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and he said the second his feet left the he basically said fuck, and it was, you know, I couldn't finish the rest. I couldn't even finish that chapter, much less the rest of the book. I just put that shit down. That was it. Never read the book again.
Yeah, I think that's a very important book.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I was worried about staying alive.
Right, yeah.
I was trying my damnedest to stay alive in New York City. But, you know, it's one of those things, man, where it's like you get caught in this moment of that's what people don't understand about people who are suicidal. It's like, yeah, there are some people that will like sit there and plot and plan in every minutia and detail. Trust me, I know there are people that do that. But there's also a lot of people where it's a moment of bad phone call, girlfriend broke up, boyfriend broke up, bad test on a score. You'd be surprised how many.
A
test? It was about a bad score. Apparently in India, every year they cycle through all these suicide attempts with these kids at university and shit, like it's a ritual. So, you know, a lot of times, like, it's accumulation of a lot of bad shit, but a lot of times it's just you caught the guy in the wrong time, the wrong day, whatever, and that's it. You know,
I mean,
like
I said this story before. We had a friend on our channel, like way at the beginning. I'm not sure if you remember. He was a kid, and you know, something had happened. I think he had gone in. He went into the garage or something like that, and there was gas around. I don't remember. Like, there was an accident that took place, and a fire started, and he was in there, and he was covered in stuff, and so he got really burnt. Remember, we're at the beginning of our channel. He was reaching out to us, chatting with him for a while. Yeah, and so like I was reading his story, and he was sending us a lot of information, and like that had kind of got me on like this like rabbit trail of other people's stories that were kind of similar to his, and but like survival stories and stuff like that. But there was this girl. And she was in high school, and you know, she was a beautiful girl. She her boyfriend broke up with her, and she decided she was going to end her life, and so she took a gun and she tried to kill herself, and she didn't die, but like it completely, you know, disfigured half of her face. I mean, she's alive, but she's been going through so many different surgery after surgery after surgery to try to get her even, like, I think that it's not like at this point I don't even know if they can work on the cosmetic stuff, and this happened quite a few years ago. It's more like they're just trying to make it so that way she can survive without excruciating headaches. And
didn't she have a near-death experience when that
I don't remember. I just remember her saying, like, now that she's beyond it, she can't believe she made that decision over that boy. And it was like...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you told me, she said, like, God is real, and she had a conversation or whatever.
Oh, well, that's very possible.
Yeah, you're liable to forget that stuff.
Yeah,
it's
the part that was more significant to me was that she...
More than her meeting God at death and God telling her to go back? Like, that's...
I get all of that, babe, but if she would have just... I was horrified by the fact that she, like... That she did... And probably it's because, you know, at different points in my life, when I, you know, got to an unhealthy point, especially as a teenager, I always thought, what if it doesn't really work? And that was kind of like one of my big fears. And then, like, seeing that happened to her, and that now she, like, one split second, like, seemingly split second decision is now going to affect the rest of her friggin' life. But yeah, I know. Look at, you're horrified because you're a Christian, so am I. But that wasn't what, to me, the making that decision and then having to live the rest of your life for a decision that you made as a teenager is just like, holy shit. Because obviously times have changed for her, life is different for her, and it's like, how insignificant was that boy? Like, so what if he broke up? Well, life was full of, you know, but now she has to live with it. But, you know, I see what you're saying. Maybe I'm not a Christian, Ben. Look at you.
Where do you get the song?
Jeez, I really like this one. And really, when we go over the meaning, I think it's very important. I'm gonna give this one a 9.
This one's a 9.4. These guys are really, 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 really good musicians. Really good musicians.
Did you say 9.4?
A lot of, I think I said 9.4. A lot of real good layers to that guitar work, which I really, really liked, which was very impressive. Which obviously I'm not a hard guy to impress with the guitar stuff, but I really, really like what they did guitar-wise. I felt like, I understand black metal as a genre. I pretty much know where they're going, but I like it when people like try to do something else with it while still maintaining that black metal feel. Obviously, Magua is nobody's really knocked Magua off the thing yet. But what they do is like, the thing I like about Magua is like they know what they do and they know what they're good at, and they stay with it. These guys are great too. They don't have, the sound is not as easily recognizable to me as Magua, but they definitely were trying to elevate the genre. They were trying to do something else, which I really, really appreciate. So it's a 9.4. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 9 even.
There you are, dear listener. We got more metal on the way, coming for you very, 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 very soon. We are we are loving the dark arts today. Vin, out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.
Wow, it's already been an hour.
Really? No.
Look.
I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of Alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. Oh, shit.
Buy our merch indeed. Child shall lead them.
Oh, I thought we were having a problem. I was like, no. Okay, this is the stream comments that Middle-earth wanted read. Controller of Minds seems to have a deep, deep stack of fantastic music that he can put together in a quick minute. Thank you to Controller of Minds for another stream collaboration. I proposed a Song 3 by the Ruki is truly a joint pick, as we both are enthusiastic about the band and the album, and we both wanted them in the stream. No doubt it would have been in the 2002 EU Album of the Year poll, AOTY, no longer possible as the EU rules only allow new to Vin and Sori bands. Sorry to the EU Alliance for taking Teruki off the table. If you don't like black or death metal, this stream will not be a pleasurable experience for you song-wise. I was once one of the detractors, and then at some point I completely changed my opinion to the point that most of what I listen to is black and death metal. So there is hope for you who dislike these forms of metal. If you don't like black death metal and don't like any particular song that would be on me, that would be on me, he says. Well, the order kind of got a little mixed up here, so I'm not sure if song number 1 is still the same. Song number 1 was supposed to be from a Finnish band, but my CD is MIA and never arrived with those lyrics. So no lyrics, no song. But with its replacement, we now have songs from the bands of 6 different countries: Italy, United States, Tahiti, Germany, Finland, and Canada.
Talk to him, brother
All
minister.
right,
We got
so,
the United Nations of black metal.
And now I'm going to read the intro to this song.
Yes,
so
sir.
This is Teruki, Marako Teruki. French Polynesian tribal black metal band. This song has a bit of Tahitian nasal flute, and Polynesian drums, giving the black...
Nasal flute?
That's what it says, a nasal flute. Right there.
Somebody explain a nasal flute. Maybe Perkinoff knows. Continue.
Giving the black metal a distinctive tribal twist. Cool. Was not sure we could get this played in the stream as only the available lyrics were in the Teomutu language, which is only spoken by approximately 4,000 people. Didn't you already read this? It is classified as an endangered language related to Mararo. I thought I might get an online translator to pump something out in English and call it a day. The various translators detected Mararo, but the result was gibberish. So on May 6th, I contacted the band about some English lyrics, and Amora responded immediately. He said that he was very busy, but that he needed a little moment to do it. Did not want to push it with him. So I then considered a professional translation service, but I could not find one that did Teomoto. But thankfully last week he got the English lyrics up on Bandcamp. We corresponded a bit, and he knows I am the I avatar. He said, "May the eye protect you and your close ones." Not sure that he has seen The Lord of the Rings, but his sincerity is so genuine and touching to me. Teruko means the night in Teomoto. Aw, that was cute. Well, good to them. You helped them out by getting them to put their lyrics up on Bandcamp.
Yes.
They should have had that before, especially if it's an endangered language. Absolutely. So good for you.
All right,
Here
let's
we go.
do it. Here we are.
Illuminated
Teruki.
Night.
Let's go. Boop.
Ooh. Wow. Okay.
This was a really, really freaking cool song, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
love that they put that.
Appreciate the hell out of this song.
So I looked up a nasal flute. It's an odd sort of instrument. I don't understand what the benefit is in blowing it from your nose and not your mouth.
It's probably gets you a different sound.
Yeah.
Probably a more subdued note signature because you're going from the secondary to the... But go ahead.
But I loved that they put that in there, and like the sounds at the beginning and the sounds at the end were just like, what an interesting way to start and end a song, and then to put that other style in there. Like it was just unexpected.
Yeah, there were a couple
things
that they did, like in that middle of the song, that I'd never really heard before. They were riding on the hi-hat for a little bit, which is normal, especially when you want to do a tempo change. But the way that they did it with the other chords and notes, I thought was pretty badass. I really enjoyed I really enjoyed the song. And on top of that, lyrically, it seems like
we're talking about Lord of the Rings, right?
The god of of fire, right?
I'll start to tease you because you're like, you never know what's going on in the song. Oh, we're talking about the demigod.
I didn't say that you didn't know. What I said was, like, your interpretation is always like, it's different. It's outside the box. But then when I read just the basics of what the lyrics mean, you act like you've never heard it before. That's the crazy part to me.
Okay, so in this one, we're talking about the demigod. Well, their demigod that they believe, like, it's their legendary demigod that discovered fire for them.
You know, that's really fascinating that... Because even Muhammad, there was a group of people that were fire worshippers. I forgot the name of the group in Mecca that were fire worshippers. It's fascinating to me that the Bible does not attribute fire to Yahweh, but there doesn't seem to be a major primer on fire at all, other than Yahweh's presence. But as far as like the practical outworking and benefit of fire, God doesn't really seem that jealous to stake his claim. But if you look at a lot of other religions and pagan religions, the moment that we quote discovered fire is almost exclusively attributed to some divine being coming down and explaining it to us. So it's very fascinating to me that the Bible doesn't go out of its way to claim credit for fire from Yahweh. So that's an interesting, take. Obviously, the sun worship, the lunar worship, but it seems that obviously Yahweh is much more worried about Ashtoreth than he is about people worshiping fire and all the rest of it. But I just thought that was really, really interesting. And obviously, when you're a kid, you're like, why would you worship fire? I didn't understand why a person would worship fire when I was a kid, but now it's like, now you understand like the practical ramifications. Especially when I was in Florida, I didn't really see a lot of value in fire. But the practical ramifications of fire are legion, obviously. But it's just fascinating to me that wasn't a part of the Old Testament economy. Yeah, that seems like a pretty big invention to take credit for. But go ahead.
Well, it's funny that you say like you couldn't understand why somebody would want to worship like the god of fire or something like that.
Yeah. When
I was a kid, I remember thinking any worship of anything other than Jesus or Yahweh was crazy because obviously my faith was really strong when I was little, but also my experience of God was so strong that I was like, this is ridiculous. Why would anybody like trust in anything other than Yahweh?
Oh.
So whether it was fire or the sun or
Yahweh,
that was the only exception. But then it made sense that they would pick, fire or the sun or anything like that. But remember, in the last, a couple songs ago, I said that I thought that as soon as you told them, people were going to be like, oh, well, there's the truth. That's it. So,
Hola otra vez.
I love hearing like legends from different areas.
Me too.
Why? It's very interesting.
Well, for me, I always try to look for the similarities of what I believe. It's funny because back in the, like, when I first started taking my own faith seriously, I would look at all these other religions to find the flaw and go, ha! You know? And, I mean, that kind of stopped when I grew up, to be honest with you. And the other
Why?
thing, it was like, why? And the other thing was, I realized that I was looking at all these major religions, and if you study them, like try to study them academically and things like that, you get to the guy on the ground, they don't know what you're talking about. You talk with a Muslim, you go, Ibn Kathir this, you know, fiqh scholar that, yada, yada, yada. Most Muslims don't know what the hell you're talking about. So, and the second thing for me, it was just when I said, oh, well, we're the only ones that have a resurrection. So, the resurrection thing to me was it.
Open and close.
Because now you've got, you know, like Jordan Peterson said, you've got this myth that's also intersecting with an actual historical being. And then for me, everything came to be about, okay, well, if Jesus really did pull that shit off, then by default, I'm done with all the other religions. You don't have anything, you don't even have the ridiculousness of the claim.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That the next major religion is Islam. They don't claim that Muhammad rose from the dead. That Jewish lady poisoned him. No disrespect to the Jewish people, but they poisoned the homie, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was dead. That was it. They actually let his body lie in state for a little bit because Muhammad said that decomposition doesn't happen to the prophet, so they were going to kind of keep him in state. But then, you know, the room got a little pungent for obvious reasons. Like, I'm trying to be
what did they
respectful
do?
here.
Like, how did they excuse that away?
Whether or not you had to excuse it away, I mean, he was funking up the room.
No, I get that, but like, what do they say in their religion?
Well, most Muslims don't even know about that hadith.
Well, that makes sense.
Right? So, but my point was, like, but now when I look at, like, pagan religions and things like that, I'm just trying to find where do we relate? Like, how do we get along? Or like, where is there overlap between what I believe and what other people believe?
Yeah. So when
that is true, XBM, you're so right. A Deuteronomy 32 worldview changes your perception of other religions in a positive note. That is so true. That's 100% true. You're right. The Michael Heiser stuff, so that the other gods can be real in a sense that, like, I do believe there's an Odin out there. He calls himself Odin. He just reports to Jesus. That's that's the thing. So I thought that.
I guess I never really paid.
But it makes
XBM is a Christian.
Yeah, XBM's been like. He's from the Bronx.
I know, but I don't really watch the comment sections much. So, okay.
Okay. So
XBM, how old are you?
It's XBM 79, so I'm assuming he was born in 1975, which would make him like 43.
Well, you know, honestly, on this channel, you never friggin' know. Like, is it like Perkinos or something like that? Is like 24 years old, but he comes in here talking like he's 85.
Right. That's true.
You have zero clue, and his little
That's
picture
true.
on the side makes him look like also dated.
But
where XBM sounds like, I don't know. To me, that sounds like young and cool and like. XBM makes me think of like one of those trick bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Perkinos, right?
Yeah,
but this
there's
old
Perkinos.
man, that's what I'm saying.
I recently watched a video where a Westerner and an Imam explained to an African Sufi group what they meant by Sufi and Salafi, because they don't actually use those categories in everyday life. Sadaqt.
I wish you lived next to Perk.
Yeah, so do I. I was trying to like bribe Perk to move down to Florida with us. He's like,
didn't work?
That'd be kind of a big investment, he says. He's got a life of his own. He's like, but I'll think about it. He ain't thinking about that shit. He's got his own life over there. He's not gonna fucking move to Florida to be around me. Okay. Very, very long reef, step by step through the seas.
Okay, so this is still talking about the demigod. And, like, okay, so my assumption was, because it says Illuminated Night is the name of the song, very, very long reefs, step by step, walking through the seas. Like, no human being is going to be able to step through reefs and across the sea like that. But he's a demigod, so he does. And it's illuminated far out there. It is you. You have been called. It is you. So he's saying that this demigod is out there, and this is the god that invented fire? Or discovered fire.
Discovered, invented, whatever. Ha! He didn't want to become the proverbial Florida man. Yeah, he didn't want to be the Florida man, I guess. You know how you just Google Florida man? It's always some Florida man doing some
honestly,
weird shit.
sometimes I think about that and I'm like, geez, I don't want to be a casualty in Florida.
We'll be all right where we are.
Yeah, but some of these nice neighborhoods have some really...
Yeah, you're watching too much true crime shit. See, like, the type of shit that would happen to people where we're gonna live, like, that's their own fault. You see what I'm saying? It's like, they invested $5 million into, like, you know, vegan grass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, wouldn't all grass be vegan?
That's my point. But you know those people, once they hit a certain monetary level, they have to justify why they've spent all their lives making money.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, these people want us to be disciplined in reviews. All right, what do you give this song?
I 9.6. Oh no, I think I have to go up higher because they had that sound in there and because only 4,000 people speak this language and it's an endangered language.
Right.
Okay, so 9.89.
Well, this band has pretty much solidified that the language is never truly going to go out of circulation because you have this and you have like translation, so you can use this.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said that Middle helped by getting them to put their friggin' translation up on Bandcamp. That's good. That's good for their language as a whole.
No, I agree.
He literally helped.
We're doing a
a
global service.
Yes.
We are globalists here, dear listener.
Look what us and our patrons are doing. We're saving children in Tahiti. No, it wasn't Tahiti. Where was it?
It's Tahitian. And we're also globalists, so.
Yep. And here we are helping the endangered languages of the world.
Did I tell you about that guy?
No.
It was the wildest conspiracy theory I'd ever heard in my life. Okay, rate this
you
song.
can't-
This is
yeah,
a 9.7 for me.
9.89 for me.
9. There you are, dear listener. This shit was tight. I mean,
Did you see Perk said he can come there all
I'm only gonna worship the Trinity. But if I worshipped a pagan god, it would be this guy because fire is pretty badass. There you go, dear listener. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Go. Yeah, the guy is like, you're black and you're pro-life. That doesn't make sense. And he goes, you say you're Jamaican, but I don't hear any accent. It's like you're a shill. You've been paid off by the Republicans to trick people. I said, so we created a meta reaction channel, but in reality, it was because we wanted to trick people into becoming pro-life. That's the entire shtick. He goes, aha! You confessed it!
I'm telling you, Vin gets the wildest conspiracy theories thrown at him. Like one time, somebody was saying that he was in a jail and that they knew the number of the cell that he was in, and that from that cell, like he started preaching and became this unbelievable pastor from the cell. It was like, where does this come from?
There was a giant. I was legendary.
Yeah, you've been in a lot of different types of legends.
Yeah. I've lived a lot of lives.
Oh, moving right along.
All right, here we go. We shall return. Commercial break. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch. What? I don't know. Your computer's working really slow, babe.
Is that it? Is that what that is?
I'm in that. Look, I have it, and it's right here.
Okay.
So where is it?
I don't know. Go talk to the people. I'll figure it out. It's my computer. That's the problem. Talk to the people.
On my computer, I see it. How are you guys? Okay, so up next is Aeternam, Bringer of Rain. As with Bloodred Hourglass, also this band has not been able to win a poll. Symphonic folk death metal from Canada, but it has an oriental touch to their sound.
All right, I'm just gonna go into the email. See, I got that right there. I got all that there. It's not there.
So you need the link? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, just give me the link. I mean, it would be great if I could find it on Trello, but
I'm
yeah,
literally clicking on the thing in Trello and it's right
just
here.
send the link. That'd be good.
Okay. Can I send it to you through text? Is that fine?
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you send it, as long as it gets sent, right? All right, guys. So once we get that up, we'll be ready to rock and roll. This is the Love for the Dark Arts stream. It looks like it's like dark arts, like from all over the world, basically. We had one from Tahiti, one from America. The first one was. Why do I keep thinking it was a French band? It wasn't a French band. What was the first band? Was
So there's the two links. One from
French. The first band wasn't French. They were something, but they weren't French. But anyway, it's the United Nations, dear listener, of black metal. I think it's pretty cool, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you. We would have.
They called it Venetic black metal.
Yeah, okay. So that first one, those guys were from Italy. Okay. All right. So read the thing again for this one, and then we'll be ready to go because I got the link.
Aeternam. Is that how you would say it? Aeternam.
It looks like Aeternam to me, but Aeternam, Aeternam, who
Bringer
knows?
of Rain. As with Bloodred Hourglass, which is coming up soon. Also, this band has not been able to win a poll. So, symphonic folk death metal from Canada, but it has an oriental touch to their sound.
There you are, dear listener. Okay. All right, let's see it. Let's see if there's an oriental touch. Where did he say they were from again? But it has an oriental. What was it?
Canada.
Canada. All right. Well, we'll be the judge of that.
We are on the border.
Let's go. Doop, doop.
Just concern myself with thoughts beyond these walls. As I stepped into the arena, I only sought for violence and chaos. From now on, my fate is to regain my freedom, to tear the Republic into pieces. As I roll! As I've fallen, but the hands of Rome is inertia. Crucified for death's reason, a lesson of fear for thousands. Covered with spears and able to bear the repulse has come to an end. As the man embraces his destiny in salvation. Hear the suffering, the smell of flesh, acclaiming the bringer of
All right.
Spartacus. Wow, that was I was like, wait, the first line made me say, wait, are we talking about? And then as it kept going, I picked up on it pretty quickly what this song was about.
That's very funny. It's very, very funny.
And it reminded me of that TV series, remember that we watched, Spartacus?
Yeah.
I loved that one. I loved watching that with you. That was such a great series to watch with you. Anyway, this is when he talks about the bringer of rain, I'm not clear on that reference.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a god or if the word Spartacus means bringer of rain. I don't know. Or if rain, you're talking about like a rain of blood.
Rain.
You know, like a rain of blood. You know,
right,
like,
yeah. I wasn't sure if it was that or if it was... Because obviously the house of Batiatus has sustained... Batiatus, yes, has sustained the anger of their servants, leaving their crates in mayhem as the rebels escape. Like, they put a lot of the story in here. So is that story, like... I mean, how much of that is...
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of Hollywood in it, but he did. He led a slave revolt.
Yeah.
He was in the house of Batiatus, and he did. They caused a lot of problems for Rome.
Yeah.
And you know, you had the servile wars, and you know, you had a lot of these uprisings and things of that nature where, you know, slaves took up weapons and they're like, "Fuck that! We're gonna kill you. We're gonna fight back. We're gonna kill you," because you know, at the time with the pater familia doctrine, like the guy had the man had literal control of life and death, whether it was a newborn. The father could decide to leave the kid to exposure, which basically would you know, to get rid of the kid, or you know, so slaves, I mean, they had to be completely compliant, or else they'd beat the hell out of you, assault you, all types of things like that. There's a guy, I forgot the guy's name, but he's a very interesting fellow because he basically says Christianity is the reason for the entire Western world. He says the difference between East and West can be explained only by Christianity, and etc., etc. He's not a Christian, but one of the things that was fascinating in his discussion, because he was debating some atheist guy. The guy himself is not a Christian, but he's saying, look, man, this is just facts. But when he started talking about slavery in the ancient world, And he was like really one of the first people that said, look, man, this idea of like complete human equality, that all human beings are equal by nature, is not the majority report in the world. Like that concept.
Yeah.
And then he talked about the crucifixion and how he said it was the most significant moment in Western history because you had the king savior character dying the death of a slave. And so it elevates the slave to this status that's not only equal to everybody else, but almost sort of like the side that God is on, where you have,
that's
the
an interesting way of
concept
looking at
God
it.
being on the side of the underdog and the crucifixion in the story. That's so it was just a very fascinating discussion. But the thing that really was crazy to me was he said, listen, slaves were considered complete property of the man. And he goes, listen, we're talking about, it got very graphic, but he was talking about orifices that, in the literature, people were using their slaves
that
like...
word means.
It was just basically any opening in your body, basically, is an orifice. So, like, he was saying that completely was viewed as belonging to the master, and using your slaves like a toilet, that was just regular. And so, like, that is the context that Spartacus and those folks were dealing with. I mean, it was an insane kind of way to live, and if you resisted that at all, they'd kill you. And that's the context to Paul saying slaves be obedient to your masters. The reason for that is obvious. Jesus had a non-violence ethic. And so if you were to actively resist your master, you have a choice now of either dying or killing your master. So the whole be obedient to your master, people, it's not like Paul is saying vote to maintain the institution of slavery.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, like they bring their Western ideology into like the time and period of the ancient world. Like if Paul were to say, yeah, don't take no shit from your masters, fight for your right to party, now the only other option you have is to join some slave revolt and start killing people in bunches. So it's like, what do you want Paul to say? What Paul did say, though, was manumit yourself, 1 Corinthians 7. He said, listen, don't be a slave to anybody, but if you can free yourself, free yourself. And then he says, you belong to God, don't be slaves of anybody. So Paul was telling them, get free if you can get free by non-violent means. So he says, if you can get it, 1 Corinthians 7, get it, and that's almost universally recognized as manumission. You could work your way out of slavery in the ancient world.
Yeah.
And so Paul said, yeah, if you can do that, do that. And then he commands them, don't voluntarily ever put yourself in a situation where you're a slave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he talks about, like, well, I don't know if it was him or if that's Proverbs, but basically
Tom Holland is the guy's name.
If you're in debt to anyone or whatever, like, get out of that debt as quickly as you can. Like, don't be in that situation.
Yeah,
it can be avoided.
So Spartacus, there's a lot of like glorification of Spartacus, but he was not the only. He was far from being the only one that. But what's fascinating is obviously at the end of the Spartacus story, all of his crew dies, they all get crucified, that type of stuff.
But I don't understand, like, okay, so if you're saying that the Bible is saying, like, slaves obey your masters, like when you're in that situation, because it's either you obey them or you're gonna die, violence is gonna happen. So if you have to take a non-violent stance, but I don't understand what you just said. I've never heard of that before, and to be honest with you, it's really troubling using somebody as a toilet. I don't even. Anyway, you're saying that in a Christian context that the person is supposed to not try to get their freedom, they're supposed to allow something like that to happen?
What do you mean not try to get their freedom? What
no,
I'm
like,
saying,
he
said if you can get your freedom, get your freedom.
No. The person is not going to let you free. They want you to let them treat you like that.
Yeah, that was the status of the slave. If you don't want to get treated that way, you're going to have to kill him. Those are your options. Right? So I'm sure there's a lot of Christians that said, yeah, Paul, I hear you, but I'm going to join this slave revolt over here.
Yeah. I mean,
right? But this is why I chuckle when I debate American Christians with all this gun shit, and they're like, God would want me to defend my family. Shut the fuck up. Don't say that. Because there have been millions of Christians that have had to follow Jesus's command for nonviolence. We're not the exception. And I'm saying this as a person who loves violence, but we're not the exception. We don't get to do that. Because our brothers and sisters have been suffering under this shit and haven't resorted to nonviolence. It's only the Americans that get to say, well, yeah, that's for y'all. We're not going to let this happen to us. All the little crazy machinations Christians go to justify, killing people. But what I'm saying is that was the command. I am certain that it was disobeyed a bunch of times, right? I'm certain it was disobeyed a bunch of times. But the point was the Christian church could not be another jihadist outfit. And the Roman situation provided a lot of temptations toward violence, whether it's the slavery aspect or the fact that, these guys you would get crucified. You'd be walking down the street, seeing your cousin on a tree, begging you to kill him. There were a lot of temptations to strap up and go on a killing spree. And no, it wasn't, what American Christians do now. They say, well, if they want to kill you because you're a Christian, then you're supposed to accept martyrdom. But if they want to rob your house, fucking blow them away. Sorry. The vast majority of the very earliest forms of Roman persecution against Christians had nothing to do with our faith. It had to do with the fact that they were racist. Okay? They were crucifying Jews long before and after the inception, the coming of Christ. Okay? So this ridiculous distinction that Christians in America make, you just make that so that you don't have to deal with the realities of what original Christians had to deal with. And that's just a fact. It's a fact. Say what you want about Constantine, but when Constantine converted, it began the erosion of slavery. It extended libertas to the religious sphere. Roman society in Western Europe was transformed by this. It's a fact. It's impossible to deny. We are the beneficiaries of the Christian religion getting preeminence on this hemisphere of the planet. And you see the difference between the Western world and the Eastern world. I'm sorry. This is not about ethnocentrism or anything like that. It's just plain old facts. Okay? Go look what happened in Libya. Guess what happened with Al-Qaeda and all those boys? Trust me, I know for a fact. As soon as Libya was, quote, liberated by Al-Qaeda with help from NATO and her allies, they immediately reopened the slave market. So there's that. So, this is a very good way of, getting inside of the psychology. Hear the suffering, the smell of flesh, acclaiming the bringer of rain, faith uprising, the shadows of war are calling the bringer of rain. That is, I'm assuming, is when he was walking into the arena and he's the bringer of rain because, he's about to kill these people. And again,
yeah, maybe they all had different names.
This happens over and over and over again, but you had a society that was centered around men killing each other for sport.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you in the audience were able to decide the fate of a person when they were in their most vulnerable moment of their life. And I guarantee you, if you were to ask those Romans when they were leaving the arena, are you a good person? They'd say, hell yeah, I'm a good person.
Yep.
I don't know how many times I have to repeat this.
Yep.
Every society and every generation has a norm that is absolutely fucking horrible. Mm-hmm. And if you believe that you're in this society, but you don't hold to any norms that are horrible and barbaric, that's possible. But it's also possible, what's more likely is that just like those Roman people who would say, it's a blood sport, but I'm still a good person. Every generation, every society has it, and it's just fascinating because the only time we can see it is when we're looking at somebody else doing it. We're never able to self-critique.
Yeah.
what's really interesting is one of the ways that the gladiatorial games ended was the big homie Saint Telemachus. And Telemachus, it's interesting because you can actually read, you can actually read early Christians talking about the lore of the arena. And I forgot who it was, but it was I was reading it in Logos. You're basically reading the diary of this early Christian, and he basically said, I've been able to stay away from the arena for like 3 months, but he basically broke because he heard the roar of the crowd, whatever, and he went back into the arena. So these were real issues in the Christian church very, very early. So think about it. If you're a Roman citizen and you went to the arena your entire life, and you've got memories with your dad and all this shit, and he's in his toga and you're getting your popcorn while this guy's getting his throat slit. I mean, so now you're a Christian. You're not gonna stop. It was a very real, it was crazy. And he basically said, I was kicking myself because how could I do this? Because my brothers and sisters get killed in here all the time. Because he was kind of like he was a Roman citizen. They didn't know he was a Christian yet. Yada yada yada. So it's just unbelievable. Like to think about, and I think about it with UFC and with the NFL. Obviously, it's at a much less degree because you're not guaranteeing a death. But the entire point, when we went to see Brady play, we were not going there to see anybody get hurt. We were there to see Brady. We're there to see Brady's greatness. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a struggle for me because no matter what anybody says, when somebody gets blown up in football, that's the loudest the stadium is gonna be. That's just a fact. Same thing with so my point is like, this shit it's unbelievable. But Spartacus is a very interesting case study because here you have a guy who looks at oppression, he looks oppression in the face and says, nah, bro, nah, we're not doing this. And he responds violently and he gets all of his crew killed. And guess what? Slavery and the gladiatorial games continued long after his death because he died in the 70 BC. So 70 years before Christ. Then in comes Jesus with the turn the other cheek shit. And so in that context, you have the Sicarii, as XBM is talking about. The Sicarii were basically a terrorist outfit of Jews who were applying asymmetrical warfare. You had the Zealots. You had all these groups that were saying we gotta take an armed response to Roman injustice. Then you have Jesus going in the complete opposite direction. Turn the other cheek. Don't resist the evildoer. Obey your master. Blah blah blah. Man. Walk the extra mile.
I don't know if I would have followed him back then.
That's my entire point. Most Americans would not have followed Jesus.
That bothers me a lot.
Because the shit that he's asking you to do is too. But look, how did the gladiatorial games end in Rome? It was Telemachus, a Christian, jumping in the middle of it and getting torn apart. That really started raising awareness, like, holy shit, maybe we shouldn't do this. Because Telemachus was saying, you guys are killing these people. But the rest of the folks were saying, hey, this is a norm. This is what we do. Plus, they're gladiators. They're not really... I mean, is it really the same thing as killing a Roman citizen? Obviously not. Because they had a stratified system of justice where some human beings were open for killing and other human beings were sacred. Yeah. And Telemachus, who refused to mind his own business, jumped in the middle of that arena... And he got torn apart, and he knew he was going to get torn apart, but that was a catalyst to the end of the gladiatorial games.
Why? Wasn't he just another person dying there? Why did that bother them? Like, I understand
because it was a civilian. Because if you step on those sands, you're most likely going to die. So, I mean, think about what we just witnessed in our country. You had 19 heavily armed individuals with some body armor. Yeah. Who refused to go into a room when they heard kids were getting shot. Yeah. It is not normal for somebody to run into certain death. So when you have a civilian
that does that,
and he gets in there and he says, stop this, then obviously it's a talk of the town. And so obviously you needed Constantine and the rest of the stuff to make it illegal, but that's the point. So it's fascinating because the parallels between Jesus and Spartacus, Because Spartacus' solution is just, let's slit everybody's throat. Jesus' solution is, how about you walk an extra mile with a Roman soldier? Because it is the Roman soldier who is maintaining this entire system that allows for slavery anyway. So by the end of the 1st and 2nd century, Christianity was most famous among slaves and soldiers, interestingly enough. And it was the inception of the Christianity and its spread that eroded slavery in the Western world and got to the point where slavery was unthinkable in the Western world. It was Christians that did that. But so what's fascinating is not only Christ's principles directly ended slavery in the long term for Rome, but in the entire hemisphere.
Yep.
So it's just really fascinating, because that's what I tell Dorian all the time. Like, the Sermon on the Mount are not suggestions.
Yeah.
They're not suggestions for how to be a nice guy. It is the only way the world is going to work without us destroying ourselves. All the violent people had their shot, and all it did was create more crucified people. That's all it did. Whereas Jesus also created a bunch of crucified people, but those people went into the ground, and then the fruit of their death was what you now are as an inheritor of Western society, where you assume things like your own equality and life is sacred, and even if you're a low-wage worker, etc., you don't even have the basis
I think so, Middle Earth.
You don't even have the basis for Marxism without a Christian worldview. Because Marxism says that the worker is equally as valuable as the master, and as a matter of fact, Marxism has a sort of upside down thing where the worker is actually more important, which is exactly what Jesus says, that the leader is the one who does the serving. And the people who are being served are lesser in the kingdom, and the ones doing the serving are more in the kingdom. So Marxism is really, it necessitates a Christian worldview for it to work.
Yeah.
Because these assumptions of equality, human dignity, the right for the worker to get his wages, the fact that workers are owed wages and that there's such a thing as a just wage and an unjust wage, find me that in the Roman system for all human beings. People go, well, I mean, Plato, please. Plato didn't believe in complete human equality. Find me that anywhere. This idea that everybody is equal and that the worker deserves a wage, and not only a wage, but a just one. That's the groundwork for Marxism. You don't get that without Christian assumptions. So anyway, it's just fascinating to me that, but then how did the Marxists try to enact? Because I believe that they're right, but they try to enact it with violence, which is why it always fails. Because nothing that's going to last can be implemented with violence, because what that means is you couldn't convince people's hearts, so you just had to stab them in the heart. But the next crop of people, it's not going to hold, because you're just intimidating these people into believing your view instead of changing them from the inside out. Anyway, it's a fascinating discussion. Did not the Christian women's incredible bravery and death in the Colosseum help the Christians' cause? Yeah, that was another one, particularly Perpetua. Yeah. Perpetua, who, by all...
Well, it was Perpetua, and it was Perpetua's friend, that the slave girl that was with her, because the slave girl that was with her had she prayed that God would have her baby sooner. Yeah. So she could be killed at the same time as her friends. So they all went into prayer, and she birthed the baby early, and the baby was given to another family to raise the child. And then they all went out there together, and it was actually Perpetua's friend that, because when she was getting tore up by the animals, her milk was coming. Yeah. And that was like horrifying for people to see the milk mixing with the blood. Yeah. And then that was kind of like, people's like, this is a little out of hand.
Yeah. And that's how you overcome it. Mm-hmm. But what you don't do is strap up and kill everybody in the arena, which is what I would do. I just heard some shit about the cops today. And I thought to myself, if I was there... I mean, but that's weakness on my part. That's what I'm saying. That's weakness. The ability to change people's hearts on an issue makes things so much more arduous, and it takes so much longer, but it creates entire hemispheres of human beings where you can alleviate suffering by the millions if there's a generation that's willing to suffer horribly for the next one. Which is what our forefathers and our foremothers, and I mean our foremothers, because make no fucking mistake about it, if you read the literature, it is clear 10 to 1 that Christian women sacrificed way more than Christian men back then. And you just use your fucking imagination. So hats off to the Christian women in the world. Shout out to Spartacus, because I'm much closer to Spartacus than I am to Jesus, obviously. But I believe that God is merciful, and even though those people made the wrong decision, He would forgive them. Because if I don't believe that, then He won't. Then I have no hope. So go ahead. What do you get this off?
You go first.
Good Sunday evening. I almost questioned myself, Sunday evening. It's not Sunday. It's Monday evening. Bringer of Rain from Controller of Minds is here. Long live Controller of Minds and long live Spartacus.
Good
morning. Good to see you.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, what a sad thing. Okay. So what did you give this one?
This is a 9.8 for me. I loved it. And I was not expecting I think Middle Earth said that Controller has the melodic death stuff. I was not expecting the melodic singing in the middle at all. So that's really pushed it up for me.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm glad you said that. The whole conversation, to be honest with you, it threw me for a loop, and I was having trouble remembering the song because
I know.
Discussion is very difficult. I think this is the first time that I've ever admitted to myself I don't know if I would have followed him. If I was back then. You know what I mean? If I was like a slave?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm with this. Just let this, especially what you just said. It's very troubling.
Yeah. We're gonna kill them all.
Jeez.
Yeah, he knew to put me in this time. He knew which people. It's funny, it's funny. I was listening to this Muslim dude, and he was talking about how Allah specifically knew which people Muhammad needed around him, and so he made sure that Abu Bakr and Umar and all those people were there because they were the best generation. And God knew, you put Vin in that situation, he's going to fail. So he put me in this time period. And I still fail horribly in this time. I barely make it in this time period when there's no real need for violence anywhere. There's no need, really, for violence here. I'm talking about need. People who get violent here, violent here have to get violent overseas. So you have to seek out, you literally have to travel thousands of miles to seek out violence to do. So yeah, I can barely make it here. He knew not to put me in there. There's no way I'd never make it.
I'm gonna match you with a 9.8.
That's why I said lead us not into temptation. He knows.
9.8.
Yeah. There you are, dear listener. We're coming back with more metal goodness. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Rest in peace to the homie Spartacus, inshallah. I cut my ears shaving, and now I have tissue stuck in my headphones to suck up the blood. Happy Memorial Day. Wow. All gave some, but some gave all. Shout out to Daniel Montgomery. We're coming right back there, listener. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
Literally just came flying in like I tripped. Oh, okay, I'm here. There's too much stuff on the floor next to my desk. Okay, we are doing our Love for the Dark Arts stream. Lord of the Lost, 6 Feet Underground, is next. The comment is, you've already reacted to the song Morgana, which was my tribute to a late friend of mine. I'm going to see this band live in July, warming up for none other... Is this
Controller talking? Or Middle-earth talking?
I thought that this was Controller's pick, but now it looks like it's Middle's comment, so do what you will. I'm gonna see this band live in July, warming up for none other than Iron Maiden.
Whoa.
Lord of the Lost was founded in mid-2007 by Chris Harms as a solo project. While working on the initial songs and publishing them on MySpace, Harms received a lot of positive reception and realized that he would require a full band to play them live. He recruited other musicians from his friends in the Hamburg music scene to form the band. Chris Harms stated that what inspires him is life. As much as you experience, as much as you can tell about, but I have a gift that I can focus on those ideas very often. It comes naturally to put memories or ideas together to become music. Okay.
All right, let's see about this. This is Lord of the Lost, guys. I feel like every time I hear Lord of the Lost, I always think about Land of the Lost, which is a show.
That's funny, and I think of Lord of the Flies.
The Land of the Lost. All right, here we go. Lord of the Lost. Let's do it. Was it 6 Feet Hourglass or something like that?
The name of the song is 6 Feet Underground.
6 Feet Underground. All right.
Your bleak lips pop underground.
All right, that looked like we had a
This is very
semi-official video that didn't get blocked, so we're in good shape.
Song. Okay, first of all, this is the combo that I pictured with this. One is it's like kind of like a modern typo. He's got like that sort of like lyrical
I had more
content.
of a Depeche Mode type feel to it, but maybe that's because I got
I'm talking about lyrical.
Depeche Mode on the mind because rest
the
in
irony
peace,
there.
rest in
Yeah.
peace to the homie.
So there was, so I kind of like the typo kind of feel in one sense, but it also had like kind of like a Ghost sound to it. Ghost, the band Ghost. You know, like how they kind of like something sounds a little happier, but it's kind of actually darker, like that sort of thing going on.
Okay.
Plus, then it also reminded me of, and I'm not gonna remember the name of the band. We interviewed them at a show, and they had like a carnival sort of sound to them.
Yeah. Raven Black.
Is it Raven Black? I think you're right. Yeah. Because he was playing that little thing. Yeah. But I wasn't sure if he was talking about a girl in this, like his other, or if he was actually talking about like his art. Because it looked like when he dug that stuff up in the cemetery, it wasn't actually like a person, but rather like his art. Like,
yeah, they were digging up their guitar parts. Yeah. Yeah, so the video is definitely communicating that it could be his love of
yeah, but you could see how it could kind of go both ways. Music. But I think that, you know, like well, I think that if you have a love for art and then, you know, circumstances like when you were not in that not healthy relationship. This is really weird how I just said that. Did you play your guitar a lot?
No, I didn't.
So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I didn't play my guitar for years. I didn't start playing my guitar again really until you. Prior to that, I wouldn't really. I'd like when I visit your place, I'd play like every once in a while. But when I was home, nah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there
was too much going on.
Well, I mean, I was prepping to go to a trip. Everything was a prep to go because I could, you know, obviously you've been there. You get a call, I gotta go. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really have a lot of time to really dedicate to playing guitar because my life was. I really wouldn't attribute it to her. I would attribute it to the work. Now you could say the work is attributable to her, probably, but I mean, I think I would have done that. I think I'd have found an excuse to do that shit anyway, regardless.
Really?
Yeah.
So then it's better we didn't meet in high school?
Yeah, probably. Well, for that situation, yeah, probably. Because that would always, if I didn't get to do that and get that shit out of my system, that would have been a real problem for me.
And I would have had a real problem with you doing that.
So, yeah, probably. Well, I mean, the way that it happened, you know, it was kind of like a backdoor situation. Like, I had already, like, made peace with that, but that was still, like, a major problem. And then when the situation presented itself, you know, and I could be convinced that, like, it was real, that took a while. But then, you know, things were obviously, obviously different. But, like, that one, like, I didn't even consult her. I didn't even talk to her. I didn't, I was like, yep, I'm doing that. But, like, if it was you, it probably would have been a lot different.
I'm so worried all the time.
It'd have been a lot different. Well, I mean, you weren't really worried when I would go. You just got worried about the last time.
I didn't know.
You got worried the last time. Yeah, you wouldn't have known. You just, it's work, whatever. It would have been. I think you'd have been fine. I just think. I think I'd have a harder time not telling you or leading you to believe.
Yeah, especially
XYZ
because
instead of HLT or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Especially.
Why is that an important question to you?
What?
Why is that an important question?
Oh, no, I was just... because I was
That looks like it's a very important question to you.
No, just the idea of something happening to you is making me emotional. And that thing that she said to you, sometimes I just hear her saying that, and I just can't believe that she said that.
What the? Oh, that she hoped I died over there.
Yeah.
Your bush is my command, bitch. Yeah.
If I wasn't there for that, to be honest with you, that would have been hard for me to believe that somebody even. That whole night was weird.
That was
a lot of weird.
It was funny too because that was in my head. I was like, well, okay, well, looks like she's gonna get her or whatever. Like I really, Anyway, but
So okay, what
I didn't get to play a lot of guitar.
That's kind of what I think that probably life and circumstances ends up making it so that way people kind of have to bury their art. So I could see it going both ways. Like it could have been like that sort of like dark sort of like love song because he's talking about like the words that he's using is I said in good times as in bad, in light as in darkness. Obviously people say that at their weddings. From the first kiss to your last breath. I don't know why, like.
And it says, too much is never enough. I'm digging my way to my work of art. So that supports your theory on the lyrics.
Yeah, he's getting back to his, and I was talking to this girl that was saying she's in her 30s, but she did a lot of like really unhealthy stuff in her life, and so she's been really paranoid about dying. Because now she wants to live longer for her kids and become a grandma and stuff, but she wasn't healthy for a lot of her life. And she was saying how she talks to other people who are older than her that also went through a phase where they were terrified of, like, dying. And I don't know if you remember, but, like, 2 years ago, I, like, went through this phase where I was, like, the idea of dying, I was not, like, I was not good. And so when he... like he talks about like eternal love and stuff like that, and I don't know, I was just thinking like I think that if you put away your art that's like very much a part of you and it's like this is me, you put that aside because life gets busy and things happen and whatever, but like digging your way back to it to say like, well no, like this is me and this is what I love and this is who I am, and like digging your way back to that so you could kind of, it just, I don't know, I like the way that he kind of put like this. You know how I am about like relationships, and there's like sort of this kind of relationship, like this dark sexuality almost to it, like dark as in like because there's death involved.
Where did you see any sexuality in it?
Sensuality, I guess you could say sensuality.
Where?
What do you mean? Are you joking?
Where is the sensuality in the song lyrically? Like what are you talking about? I kiss your
bleak lips part by part. That's
sensual. Your bleak lips.
Yeah, but that's why I said dark.
Bleak. Like, doesn't even seem dark to me. It just seems boring. It's like you got like these thin, chapped lips. They're not really.
Yeah, but he's.
You just find a way to sexualize everything.
No,
I don't even
think
think
what
like
he's
he
saying,
meant this to be sexual
like he's
at
got
all.
well, I disagree. In night by night, you'll be my skin and flesh. Like I think he's getting back to his music and he's using that sort of like, black lace approach, like kind of adding some like sensuality.
Sensuality.
Yeah, I feel like as he's talking about his instrument, the frozen heart, the eternal love.
It's just fascinating to me.
And I think that when he talks about the bleak lips part by part, I think that he means like, because as he's pulling his instruments out, they all looked like they needed some TLC. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like prior to our friends sending us, Becky and her husband Becky and John sending us the guitar that they sent for you. Like your other guitar was like pretty beat up, you know what I mean? Like it was missing a knob. There was strings broken. That
thing is 10 years old.
Yeah, I know. But you abandoned that for 10 years. And then, or whatever, like a big chunk of that time, it wasn't like now you're coming back to it. So you were like pulling the guitar out, putting on the proper strings to it, taking the time to kind of like play and stuff. And I think that I just like the way that they explained it and that, whatever. But I see that, what do you think the song's about?
I actually, you convinced me, because I thought it was just a relationship song, but you convinced me that it's about his relationship to art.
You thought it was just, well, that's interesting.
Just a girlfriend song.
No, I wanted it to be a girlfriend song, but I definitely thought it was about
I think music. You give material things like art or a guitar some sort of consciousness when you bond with it, so a long time away from it hurts the soul a bit.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I definitely agree with that. And again, I don't know like the level of consciousness or whatever, but I have such a strange relationship with my guitar. It's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's like it calls to you sometimes, and then it's like and then other times I'm like, yo,
I'm done.
I don't want to be around you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. get away.
Yep.
And I do like it's emotionally, it doesn't feel any different to me than a good talk with a friend or a whatever. And there's times actually I feel like the guitar understands me in a way that nobody else understands me, which is kind of very, very interesting thought process.
I think it's important for people to have stuff like that in their life. Like for me, a lot of times it could be music, but a lot of times it's writing, a journal and a pen.
Yeah. It's them rediscovering their love for their styles of music and forming the band, I think. Yeah, I think...
Yeah, you know what I thought of?
You guys
Fist
are
of
both
Five.
right.
When
Fist
this was
of Five.
going on.
Oh, yeah!
That's
Speaking
literally
of Fist
what I
of Five,
thought
we
of.
gotta review one of their videos soon. They just came out with a new joint.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, music is really, really fascinating because, especially me, like, I cannot even explain, like, how frustrated I get with my instrument and how, like, it's, like, instantaneous. Like, I just come to a point where I'm at the terminus. It's like...
Yeah, I always wonder if you're like, I'm playing this one more time, then I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Because you always look like you were right into it, and then boom, you were done.
Yeah.
And the way that you hang it up sometimes, it looks like...
Yeah, it's so strange.
If he didn't not want to break that thing might be broken.
Yeah. But then up there, I see it hanging on the wall. It's like, play me. I want to do our song. What do you get the song?
I really like this one, and I really like the message again. So a 9.89, another 9.89.
Isn't that sort of the way that Lewis talks about Storge? Yeah, pretty much. I think I Storge my guitar, for sure. Okay. We got more for you, dear listener. What did you give it?
9.89. What'd you give it?
I'll give it a solid 9. I do think the Depeche Mode, it had like an 80s industrial vibe to it. Yeah, it's a solid 9. More on the way, dear listener. We're coming right back to you. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone. We are on the way, dear listener. Commercial break, then we'll be right back. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them. Okay, so we are doing a Love for the Dark Arts stream.
Yeah.
And the next song on our list is Bloodred Hourglass. We Form the Broken. Bloodred Hourglass.
Reform or we form?
Did I say reform? It's We Form.
We form the what?
The Broken. We Form the Broken.
Okay.
This band has been in a few polls for the Epic Underground, but never reached the top.
Oh!
Thus, I decided to do something about it and find you need more melodic death metal in your lives.
Is
All right.
this who is that? Controller?
I think it's Controller.
That's got to be Controller. All right.
I think that last one, this one, and the next one are all controller.
Boys and girls, here we go. Here we go. Chris Harms will be glad to hear that. Shout out to Chris Harms, whoever Chris Harms is.
Last song,
and
right?
Bloodred Hourglass. Let's go. You got those lyrics. Contender for Song of the Night, bro.
Agreed.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a conflict. I don't know. All right. I think this was a relationship song. What do you think?
Well, I agree. But as far as... Okay, so...
That line was pretty crazy, the way they did that.
Which one?
Where he says, now I know.
Yeah.
He says, now I know that all is fair in love and war. That's a pretty crazy line.
Yeah, that line made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a very...
Sounds like something you'd say.
Huh?
It just sounds like something you would say.
Yeah, that's some shit I would say.
Yeah.
But see... I didn't really... When I think about, like, you know, my issue, my person, and your person, like, she never took the principle there. She never went there. Your guy went there, though.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Like, all being fair in love and war. Like, you know, that means basically, like...
Yeah, anything's...
Anything. She's not like that. But your guy's like that. Like, with the court stuff, where I had to spend thousands of dollars to... You see what I'm saying? Like, that dumb shit he was trying to pull, he knew it wasn't in her best interest. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to be...
Yeah.
Like, he's that type of person.
That's not at all what I thought that phrase
not that
meant.
type of person.
I never took that phrase that way.
All is fair in love and war?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you're saying the love and the war is both in a relational context?
Well, I think what they're saying is that when you're at war, there's no rules.
Right, but you mean at war with someone?
Yeah, like actual warfare, there's no rules. But when you love somebody and then it goes sour, it's almost indistinguishable.
I literally never took that. I've thought of that phrase so many different times, and I never thought of it in that context, but I do think that that's how people look at it.
Yeah, I just think it's like how could you do that? You know, that's horrible. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, they loved each other. Now they're at war with each other. It's all legal now. You know what I'm saying? That's how I interpreted the phrase.
Yeah,
I've
never done. I thought it was just saying.
How did you interpret it?
I thought in a warfare sense, anything's fair. Like if you're trying to win the war, like lie, steal, kill, whatever you have to do, win the war. And that all's fair in love is that when you're trying to find love, you can also do the same things. Like you can, you know, if somebody's, I always took it as if somebody wasn't married and you got around the person and, you know, you guys started hitting it off. Well, all's fair in love and war. Like you put yourself on the table and now you're with the person and they're not with that person anymore. Oh. I didn't think that it was.
I mean, that could be it.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe because of how I came up, I just interpreted the phrase.
The way that you interpreted it, I think makes more sense. It's in a love context. When you're in love or when you're at war with each other, it's everybody. That is how people see it, and people get really horrible.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, like you're like, oh, you still took care of her, blah blah blah. It's like
still do now.
I don't take care of her now. Like I don't do anything to materially. I don't even talk to her. The last time we had a conversation, I was like, get out of here.
No, she called you a couple days ago, and you're like, why am I being involved in this?
Yeah, so how is that me taking care of it?
No, I'm saying like
the last time she was in the house and we had a serious conversation, I ended the conversation pretty quick. Told her,
yeah, I know.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm saying it in like a positive thing. You're making this weird reaction. I'm saying it in a positive thing. Like you still take care of her, and I told you before.
Yeah, but like, what are you talking about?
Well, it's like if she needs help, you're gonna help her.
Like how? Like what in the last 300? Have I helped her in the last 365 days? Yeah,
she's had a lot of different times where she talks and she wants to hear your input and for you to give her some help. I mean, I don't. It depends on what you want, what you're categorizing.
In the last year,
if you look at, it's been a significantly lot less in the last year. I feel like that you're on the defense here, and that was actually like a compliment from me saying you still take care of her.
I'm not. I just don't know what you're considering taking care of her to mean. Like talking to her at all?
Well, I'm looking at like, okay, so my past relationship, like that person can't even like get themselves to do something that wouldn't benefit me, but would benefit his child.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're not like that. Like even if there's something that doesn't involve the kids, but let's say she said, I can't make this month's rent. Can you give me X amount? You would do it. And she knows that, and I know that, and we all know that. She's not asking for that, but you're still there if she needs you. But I wasn't saying that as like a negative thing. It has been a negative thing for me in the past.
I'm not saying that.
But I'm still
saying that you're saying it's a negative thing. I just don't know what you're talking about. Well, like, especially like for the last year.
The idea that she had that problem going on and she called you when she created that entire situation means that to me that even she still thinks, okay, I need him. He'll help me. And I mean, you were like, why am I being involved in this?
Right. I don't think anybody would listen to me in that phone call and go, that was a really helpful guy.
No, I don't think in that phone call. Right. But I'm saying from her perspective, she still sees it that way.
Well, look, I'm a superhero. I'm still taking care of people. Just by talking to them, I'm a superhero. Hey, I'll take it. But these two, when you hear somebody say that, now I know that all is fair, that means something bad happened. Mm-hmm. Like she crossed some line. She crossed some line to where he's like, oh, okay. Because they're talking about burning bridges, burning down the town. Already burned down the town of ghosts. I know the bridges of our hope, they fail. Like, it looks to me like she was one of those people where, like, she makes you, like, quit all of your friends. Already burned down the town of ghosts, I know. She's one of those people that, like, makes you put her at the, like, center of everything. And now all of his friends are gone. And now their relationship isn't working out. And now she's doing a whole bunch of crazy shit to him. That's what it looks like to me.
Okay, I took it as you already burned down the town of our ghosts. Like, everything, she's destroying everything. Like, yeah. Okay, like, if you found out, like, let's say you had some really great memories with somebody, and you guys went on this amazing trip, and, like, that trip was, like, your thing, like, and you always looked back at it, and then you found out she was having an affair during that entire time, so then, like, even the memories, you burn down the ghosts of those memories, like, everything gets ruined because of things, like, he found out some stuff that affects everything. And then he said it all goes down to the same old story, which, he says, can you feel my darkness as your son? Like,
that's a good line.
Yeah.
That's a good line. That man can write his ass off.
Because of what he found out and what went down. And it all goes down to the same old story. Now I know it all. Now I know that all is fair in love and war. When he says if it all goes down to the same old story, like, a lot of times, like, the bad person in a relationship, weird way to say that, they have some reason or some excuse for why they did that, and it's something that they're going to use, like, a lot. Like, you know, there's that show that we're watching, and she tells him, you got so busy in your work, you weren't paying attention to me anymore. So, it was his fault.
Yeah.
Is what she's saying, you know. So,
yeah.
I
haven't been watching that Amber Heard, Johnny Depp situation. But it's a fascinating cultural moment because it's
I only see clips of it.
It's one of those, because she you can hear her explicitly saying, "You're a man. Nobody's gonna believe that a man, you know, whatever." But like, I don't want to like swing too far and say like there's this groundswell and epidemic of abused men and women. I still think that in a relationship, when abuse happens, you know, 8 times out of 10 it's probably the guy. I don't know what the percentage is, but I do think I'm going to be fascinated to see if this Amber Heard, because it really does seem to be, if it was the other way around where he was on tape saying all types of crazy shit. Now, granted, I haven't really looked at the minutia, but it looks to me, I'm following Izzy, and Izzy has like a point by point update on stuff, and some of the stuff is just too ridiculous to believe, but I want to see what happens like a year from now with this conversation. It's funny because like it's being recognized like, hey, maybe sometimes a woman can be the bad guy, but nobody's really taking it seriously. Like, oh, she pooped on his bed, she did this, she did. Nobody's really saying, holy shit, this is a really psychologically destructive. So it's clear to me that like we've got a long way to go as far as that goes, because if it was reversed and Johnny Depp was doing all the shit that she did and all that, it would be a completely different scenario. And I'm good with the bias going that way. If society has to be biased, then bias it against the men. I'm fine with that in construct. But it is something fascinating to watch to see if there's going to be like a cultural learning and move forward with that, and if we start to see abusive women being, you know, portrayed in film and because, you know, you always see the abusive boyfriend or whatever, like, you know, then you'll know, like, okay, this is actually taking. But right now it's just very, very interesting to look at. What did you think?
So yeah, I enjoyed the song. I thought it was like the way that they went heavy with it, but also like they had those other elements. I liked it. But what do you think when he says this foundation of a solitude, brick after another brick, either heaven or hell, still built to be my haven? It sounds like even though it wasn't good, like it was still his spot, like it was still his haven. And then he said, like living in a deja vu with everything I see in you.
Yeah, I think he's torn between solitude or being with her, is what it looks like to me. That's why he says either heaven or hell. I think what he's saying is he doesn't know what heaven is and what hell is. Is heaven being single and having the solitude where you can quiet your mind? Or is heaven being in a relationship? In which case, your heaven defines what your hell is, right? Or vice versa. So that's what it looks like to me. There's a lot of people that just can't be alone. And not only that they can't be alone, they are terrified of being alone. That was something I didn't understand, because I had this friend and I'm like, Jay, why can't you just be alone? You know? And it didn't really dawn on me, but she was scared to death of being alone. She's just, some people are afraid of being alone. The problem is, especially with women, if a guy picks up on that, holy shit, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
A lot of trouble. All right, what do you get the song? $275 in the house.
I don't know. I really like this one.
Hope it's a good day for you
what
today, buddy.
What are you giving it?
I'm going to give this a solid 9.5. I want that other song to be our number one song of the night, at least for me. But we've got one more song to go.
I think I'm going to go with the 9.8 on this one.
Well, it was a relationship song, Controller. You know the deal. All right. We shall return, dear listener. One more song. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone. Dislocated 3 toes, being bad at judo takedowns, and drank too much today. How y'all doing?
Disgusting.
We traversed a little bit of a mountain, and we had a conversation about
outside.
Something. I forgot what the conversation was about, but I'm sure it was a good conversation. We shall return, dear listener. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch. All right.
Buy our merch indeed.
Love for the Dark Arts is next.
Yes, dear listener.
That's what we've been doing all night. That's the name of the stream. Babe, what's the name of this band? Say this for me.
Ephemerald.
The name of the song is Lost. This one is their debut album from 2021, came in second place of my top 25 album list, right after Ghosts of Atlantis. Great variation, as I think you'll hear in this song. Also a melodic death metal band, also from Finland. All right, let's check them out. This is our last song. I'm gonna need a timestamp for that.
Yep. Unfortunately, it's our last song. Big homie, Controller of Minds, gang, gang, gang. Big homie, Middle Earth. This is me trying to extend the set because I like you guys, and I haven't been able to talk to. We haven't done a Controller Middle Earth stream in a while. So, plus we had our life blew up on us, which you kind of heard in the previous song. So anyway, we're back. All right, here we go. All right, guys, here we go. This is the final song. Did you read everything?
I did.
Okay. Let me see if the download took. It did. All right. Ephemerald. I think it's a combo of ephemeral, ephemeral and emerald. I don't know. All right. Let's do it. Here we go. What's the name of the song again?
Lost.
Lost. All right, let's see it. Let's see this band. This is going to be a contender from number 1. I can tell already.
Oh, that's pretty.
What are those lyrics? Whoa!
was that song?
What a clean break. That was a clean break. 5 minutes and 3 seconds in show.
Yeah, it felt like really short, like 3 minutes. Wow. Okay, that was interesting. That was really like had some really epic sounds to it.
Yeah, I was afraid that the lyrical content was not going to match the weight of what they were doing with the buildup, but it did. I mean, it was talking about existential issues, meaning, purpose, all that jazz. Which, to me, I can't stand when it like has this epic sound and then it's talking about just basic shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, my God. But this one was epic, but also the lyrics were matching the epicness, if that's a word. Escaping the truth one cannot justify, breathing in the air that cannot fill the lungs, slaying the same demons night after night, creating a world of lies just to survive. Whew. Ending all of the days in bitter cries, desiring to find a cause that never dies, leaving deeper meanings behind to rot, longing for a second shot. Again, that's a smart line. Longing for a second shot again.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Like, that's the thing about people like, oh, give me a second chance. Like, nobody wants a second chance. You want a 19th and a 38th chance. You don't want a second chance. Mm-hmm. Like, how many things, honestly, in your life, whether it's a relationship or your relationship with God or your relationship with your own moral self, how many times have you said, all right, if I have one more chance to do that, I'm going to do it right, and then you fuck up again? You know what I mean? So, that line made me chuckle. Because
mine's always with patience.
Yeah.
Like next time when I get faced with that situation, I handle that differently.
Well, you do. You do. When you remember, when you don't remember.
Yeah, then a lot of times it's like the situation passed, I'm like, oh, fuck, I did it again.
Here's Hoyle. This won't be a popular opinion, but if you put the drums a little further back in the mix and push the strings forward, that would be awesome. Hoyle, I'm going to send you a track of ours, and I want to see how you mix it. I'm serious.
Can he do you know how to do that?
Huh?
Does he know how to do it? I mean, some people have opinions about stuff they don't know how to do. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I'm sure if he doesn't know how to do it, he'll respond.
When people will tell us how to do our channel, and then you find out they don't have a channel.
Huh?
Like, you know when people tell us how to do our channel, and then then you find out they don't have a channel?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's got some sort of...
I mean, I have opinions on what needs to happen in a song, but I don't know how the fuck to do that.
Yeah, but
I'm not mixing songs.
We'll see. We shall see.
Although I'm making a music video for Vin.
We're making a music video for you guys.
Well, it's Vin in the video, but I'm the one that's doing the editing.
Oh, is that why we didn't prioritize it?
Honey, I told you how much I didn't want to paint today, and I was in there painting the green room while you were playing games about dots. So
These
don't even...
lyrics were in the song. I gotta get better headphones.
He doesn't know how to do it?
No. It's Dwayne. He's the
Oh, I know who Dwayne is.
Yeah, so he's saying these because he doesn't like barfy vocals. Oh. He's like, these lyrics were in the song. Yes, they were, Dwayne.
And look, Rob says he doesn't know how to do it. Nope.
Yeah.
LOL.
Yeah. You can write that in the comments. One of their official videos is... Okay. If only I could have stayed as strong all along as I have always known I can be and avoided all of this misery. These empty rooms, these empty halls, a reminder of all I've forestalled, and yet this mouth remains shut, the cycle untouched, and the glimmer of hope lost. I think this is a guy that's dealing with some sort of addiction, and he's not doing very well. I think is what's happening. Breathing in the air that cannot fill the lungs, slaying the same demons night after night, creating a world of lies just to survive.
I think you're right.
Ending all the days in bitter cries, desiring to find a cause that never dies, leaving deeper meanings behind the rot. These empty rooms, the empty walls, a reminder of all I forestalled, and yet this mouth remains shut, the cycle untouched, the glimmer of hope lost. If only it could have stayed as strong all along as I've always known I can be and avoided all this misery. Yeah. And I know I should be redeeming the fragments of a broken soul, finding out things one can control, which is something you hear a lot in AA and Al-Anon. You focus on what you can control instead of what you can't control. Bending the dour mind under command, rewriting the aversive chapters with firm hand, ending all the days in bitter cries. That's the chorus. Yeah. So it looks like this is a guy that was stuck in a cycle of addiction, lost a lot of shit because of it, and now he's looking back and he's trying to figure out how to rebound in his life when he's lost all these people or whatever due to his addiction. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. I think it's like when you talk about addiction and like some people want to just put that on like the druggies, you know what I mean? And be like, oh, they're the ones that are addicted.
They're the addicts, yeah.
But there's so many things that all of us, like if you stop and look at it, there are things in all of our lives that we could point to and say, okay, I'm addicted to this thing because I don't know how I'd be able to stop this or that thing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And I think that if you can look at the principle of that to understand how difficult it is when, like, you know, like for instance, let's say you have an addiction to gambling and you can see that it's not really working for you and that you need to stop, but like you keep doing it, you keep getting sucked into it, but that's not a chemical addiction.
Right.
Like, it's going to be so much more difficult when because, okay, like, every time I get pregnant, I always end up, like, getting in this cycle of, like, I can't stop with the sugar. So, I avoided these ice creams for, like, the longest time. And then there was a time where we stopped and you got one, and I was like, as I was taking it out, I literally, as I was taking the container out and putting it in our car, I was like, this is a bad idea. Because I knew once I put that first one that I was going to be like having a hard time to not eat an ice cream a night. And like, but that's like just, so I think that, you know, like when you're young, that there's words of wisdom to like avoid certain things that could be very destructive to your life. Like, I was reading this story about this person that was, the first time that they tried heroin, they were at this restaurant and like, they thought that it was just going to be like, they would try it once and then never do it again. But they ended up getting like deeply, deeply addicted and they destroyed 20 years of their life. And then they ended up back, like they had to come full circle and finally get off the drugs. And then they landed back at that same restaurant 20 years later and realized like how much of their life they lost because they essentially didn't have like a lot. There was nothing to really show, you know, like physically for that part of their life, just like a lot of destruction. So I think that, you know, like when you're young, you can say, hey, avoid certain things because it's going to lead you to, you know, an addictive lifestyle and it can destroy your life. But then I think that, you know, you hit a certain age where it's like, okay, you've already made those destructive decisions and you've already got yourself addicted to these certain things. And I think that like the way that he describes this, I have to say, I feel so heavy when you were reading the lyrics, like the idea of being like under the control of something and like where he's talking about like just like lies and like give me a second shot again, like all those different things that these empty rooms, these empty walls, a reminder of all I forestalled, like, and yet this mouth remains shut, the cycle untouched, and the glimmer of hope is lost. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, people are saying like all addictions are essentially chemical addictions, right? Because of dopamine releases and things of that nature.
Wow.
But from that standpoint, it's like, well, like I was listening to Skip Bayless, for example. He runs, I think, 6 miles a day. And he said he's addicted to it. And he is.
Yeah.
He gets dopamine release, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows it knows about the runner's high and all the rest of it. And the ideal situation is to be addicted to things that are going to benefit you.
Yeah.
Right? So he is addicted to something that's going to elongate his life, increase his quality of life.
Yeah.
That he doesn't have to lie about and hide. So I get that, but there are some addictions that are good and some addictions that are bad. And the most successful people are people that get addicted to good stuff. That's why you have guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Tom Brady. They're addicted to, like, Tom is obviously addicted to taking care of his body and competing and things of that nature. Now, I would say in Brady's situation, it doesn't create a bunch of lies, etc. Or maybe it does. You have to talk to his family. But, like, maybe it does. Like when he tells Giselle, hey, one more. And she knows that if he loses, he's going to be like, hey, I can't go out like that. I lost. But if he wins, he's going to say,
I bet I can do one more.
That means I'm at the top of the hill.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's very, like heroin, crack, cocaine, weed, alcohol. I think those kinds of addictions were like, yeah. But there are other addictions that are there that create patterns of destruction that are very like me. I was I don't know if addicted was the term, but I was out there, doing the work, and the kids were obviously suffering for it. So it's very fascinating. But yeah, in this situation,
I'll tell you,
I've never been in a situation where I've like ever had to struggle with something. You see what I'm saying? So like, for example, we're in a situation and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to quit that cold turkey. Like,
I don't know. You have a pretty strong addiction to one thing.
I didn't. Yeah, but I don't struggle with that. I don't struggle with that. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? It's not something where I'm like, oh. Yeah. So, like, it's easy for people who've never really struggled with those kinds of issues or have a mental disposition where you can just stop something cold turkey and like it doesn't bother you.
Yeah.
Like, if it's very hard for people like that. I made this mistake a lot because it's just, we'll just stop. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, it's not that simple for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So like, I've been doing a lot of like, that's one of the conversations I had with you about certain topics. Like, how is this really different from this if it's the same sort of chemical psychological profile? Like, and I understand you, but I kind of look at you. I'm like, she's not really being objective about it, obviously, because she thinks she's benefiting. So anyway,
I am benefiting.
It's a very interesting conundrum. I think there are some addictions where it's obvious this is destructive, heroin, whatever. Yeah. Like right out the gate, we don't need to have a discussion. There's no debate. Right. But there are other addictions that I think I wouldn't say just as destructive. What I will say is would probably have similar results in the long run as far as like being isolated, losing people you love, etc.
I think this is something that I've actually never heard anybody talk about. Maybe it's been alluded to, but I think that people can get addictions to certain emotions.
100%.
And you're like addicted to being like sad all the time, or you're addicted to being depressed, or you're addicted to being angry, or whatever. Like, and I think that we have to, for me, like I've noticed that I've been on like this run of low patience, quick to get frustrated. And I'm trying to like, I'm really working at trying to like change that and be like, this is not that big of a deal. Like, why do I instantly feel so angry over not spilt milk, but like situations that don't need that level of frustration. Like today, I really wanted to get to a certain place. It wasn't even for my benefit. It was for yours. Yeah. And we weren't going to, and I got really upset that we didn't get there to get that thing for you. And you were like, why are you so upset about this? Like, it's just not going to happen. We were supposed to be somewhere for 5:00.
Oh, yep.
And then I was like, why am I getting so upset about this? Honestly, I don't know. Like, it's, I feel like that was something that would have really benefited you and I really wanted you to have that. But, like, why am I going to expend that level of energy when you're clearly not expending it for your own self?
Right.
Why am I getting this upset about it?
I agree.
So, but I don't know, like sometimes...
Then in those situations, I always end up getting the brunt of it anyway. You always take it out on me anyway.
I was like, yeah, how come we didn't leave? Like, whoa.
Yeah, and then you started going after me. I was like, here it is. Unbelievable. Somebody's got to be blamed. I just
wanted you to be all set up and have everything that you needed. But then I was like, when you said, like, whatever, then I was like, you know what? Why am I getting all upset about this? Like, nobody's hurt. Nothing's going to happen. Like...
Yeah.
We've been going the same way for 5 months. What's one more day going to matter? Like, whatever. So, yeah. But like, I think that that's something that we have to all, like, everybody has to assess their own life and say, how much of my life am I angry? How much of my life am I sad? And I think that there are phases that we go through, and there are, like, obviously, if you just had something serious happen that was a genuinely sad situation, you're going to be sad. But your entire life shouldn't be full of sorrow. Just like your whole life shouldn't be full of rage and anger. And if that's the case, then we need to start setting up appointments to see some therapists. And you know what I mean? Like, start actually working on that. Because, you can absolutely get addicted to certain feelings that are very negative for you and not healthy. So it's not just substances and, obvious things, but.
Obviously. What'd you give this up?
A 9.
Yeah, I give this a solid 9.4 as well.
I didn't give it a 9.5.
Really good job. Luminous Knight gave it a 9.5. We were very close. We were very close. Another one in the books, dear listener. We have more for you on the way in the next coming days.
Yep.
Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. Much love to the big homie Controller of Minds. Much love to the big homie Middle Earth. Peace to all the rest of you beautiful people. We are out of here.